Welcome back to another episode of the Know Your Power podcast. I'm your host, juliarene.
And Kendall Aaliyah.
And today, guys, it is episode number 2 of Bodybuilding Basics. Today, we are going to talk about how to pick your division, your coach, and your show date.
Which is a lot of info.
Yes, as I was creating this episode, I was like, dang, this is a lot of information.
There really is, we can make this a 20-part series about, what you need to know about bodybuilding. We're trying to simplify everything,
yes.
But it's hard.
We're trying not to information overload you.
Yes. We'll try to keep things pretty simple today also.
Keep it very simpleton.
Simpleton.
Yeah. Bodybuilding for dummies. I wonder if there's a bodybuilding for dummies book. Do you think?
I'm sure.
There's
Don't they have it for everything?
Yeah.
If not, we should make it.
We should make a bodybuilding for dummies.
Maybe that's what we should name this series.
That's true.
Bodybuilding for dummies. We could always change
Honestly,
it.
I might
We'll
change
think about it.
But yeah, we're going to go over a lot today. So get your notebooks out, or if you're driving or if you're on the Stairmaster, good for you because you're doing cardio. Whatever you're doing, just take a mental note of this because you're going to want to know. But disclaimer also, all of this information too that I got was from the NPC website. So they kind of update it, they kind of don't. And we'll kind of go into it a little bit once we start going into the divisions, because I got some beef with some of the stuff. And it's not really beef. It's what they say on the website is not what I see on stage.
Yeah.
So
we can kind of talk about that too. I feel like that's good to know.
Yeah. We'll talk about what the NPC says on their website and then versus what we actually see on the Olympia and the pro stage.
Yeah.
But first, I wanted to talk about picking your federation, because we're talking about the NPC, which is the feeder into the IFBB, which is the feeder into the Olympia, which is, in my opinion, the best federation.
It's definitely the biggest, the most common.
It's the most common.
See NPC or you see IFBB Pro. That is all technically the same federation.
My ears hurt.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I put earrings in again. They hurt.
If you need to take those off, you can.
I'm just going to stuff them in my, okay. There we go, stuff my ears in here. Okay, so I, this was kind of difficult because all I know is the NPC, but after researching, there's the OCB and the NFF. These are both natural federations where they drug test you the day before you compete. Then there's the WBFF, which Kendall actually did when she first started.
2 shows in.
So what is the WBFF, in short?
I think, I don't even know what it stands for anymore. Something along the lines of World Bodybuilding, Fitness, and Fashion.
Yeah, yes, you're right.
Something like that. And that's exactly what it encompasses. So it isn't a tested federation. It's not a quote unquote natural. Of course, there's natural competitors in NPC and IFBB and in WBFF, but they don't test you. So you can take stuff and it will never be recorded anywhere. But I think the only difference, and we'll obviously talk the most about NPC in this episode, the biggest difference is they do have that emphasis on fashion.
Which I love.
It feels like a beauty pageant meets a bodybuilding show. I loved them.
It's Victoria's Secret model fashion show, but buff.
But ripped. So
I love it.
They score not only on your appearance, but also on your fashion appearance.
Yeah, because sometimes they wear this is the competition where you'll see people and they're wearing jewels. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Sunny Andrews and Urishna, they both used to compete in it.
So if you're in a bikini competitor for this, we'll just make, this is the only part that's going to be about WBFF. If you're here for NPC, it'll be the rest of this whole video. WBFF, if you're a bikini competitor, your first time stepping on stage, you're in a bikini. You do essentially similar poses to NPC. It's a little more fluid and dancey, a little less stand here and pose. Yeah. It's you're allowed to and encouraged to keep moving. So you can hit 10 different front poses, which is fun. It's I enjoy it. I recommend it to people who maybe don't care about turning pro or anything and just want to do a fun federation. And then second time you step on stage as a bikini competitor, you're in a gown, and that's how they do awards, is in a gown.
Dress?
Yes. So they'll still score you based on your stage presence and the gown. It's a kind of a full package type of thing. But that's you wear a gown for awards instead of wearing your bikini in most federations. Then fitness and figure, and I think all the rest, they do the first time they step on stage, same thing, just a normal-ish bikini. They are a little more embellished when compared to NPC.
Yeah.
I had one that had a full jeweled like stripe across
Bruh.
the whole part of my chest, and then it went like around my neck. It was very
I want
elaborate. I still
wings.
own it. Yeah, so that's what they do. The second time they go on stage, they call it theme wear, where it can be whatever you want. Like I've seen some weird outfits up there.
But you're still wearing like a bikini kind of.
Yes.
Okay.
Some people just add stuff to the bikini they were wearing, or they have like a full like new outfit for it. But like Victoria's Secret wings, or like a giant cape, or like just big extravagant stuff to bring in that fashion element. But like the most of the scoring is still, I think it's 70% of the split is still on your physique.
Gotcha.
It's just that little added like,
Yeah.
that's a sick outfit. I'm going to give her a point.
So freaking dope.
It's a very cool federation.
Yes.
I would say the only downside is like it is a very political federation. I know people say NPC and IFBB are political, but like in the WBFF, there are literal coaches of girls on stage who are judging. So like very biased.
Not cool.
But it's fun. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I would do it again if I like didn't care about.
Yeah. But the thing
Of
is
the
like
Olympia.
now you can't switch over. So if I ever wanted to like go to WBFF, which I probably never will,
Yes. You have no reason to.
I would lose my pro card.
Yeah.
Isn't that
you
crazy?
have to forfeit it.
Yeah, you have to forfeit it.
Yeah.
Like they don't vibe. These
I heard-
these
I-
federations don't vibe.
I heard there's like beef among the owners or something, or they used to be friends. I really know nothing, but
Yeah, we
like
know
I
nothing.
know
Alleged.
allegedly. I don't think. I think they're like each other's biggest competitors. So obviously
Which
there's
makes
going to be
sense.
some conflict there. But yeah, that's
Now-
it on WBF.
Moving into the MPC, which is the non-drug tested, which feeds into the IFBB. Then we have the IFBB, which is the professional athletes that came from like NPC that go to the Olympia. So this is basically how it works. When you first start bodybuilding, you're going into like, say we're picking the NPC as ours, which is, I guess, most widely known. You go there, you qualify for nationals. Once you go to nationals, it's like top 1 or 2. Then you get your pro card. Then you're a pro, and then you can only compete in professional, which feed into the Olympia.
Yes.
Sounds
Once
like
you
a lot.
have
but
your IFBB pro card, you can't ever go in reverse. So
Yeah.
there's usually regionals, nationals. Regionals is just like local shows. Regionals, nationals, and then pro is like
shows.
what goes on. If you lose at nationals or you don't place, I think, a certain top number, you start back and have to go to a local show again to requalify. And you just keep
Exactly.
going through this cycle until you move on to the pro cycle.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do.
Yes.
If you want to take it that far. So now we're going to talk about the guidelines for each division. So we wanted to talk about like how to pick your division. So I wanted to go over like a brief little synopsis of each division so you can kind of figure out like which one your body might fit into, where like which one you want to kind of train towards, because it has to do a lot with like your natural genetics, kind of how you want to train, and like how long do you want to build before you're able to compete in this category, because a lot of them are more muscular than others. So these are from the IFBB website that I was looking at. So first, let's start with bikini. So who is this division for? You might be asking. So if you decide to go into this division, no matter what we're saying, you can like obviously go into whichever one. This is just
you could always grow into one too if you feel like you're not currently there.
100%. I there's a lot of girls that I meet that are bikini trying to move into wellness, and
I've also seen figure pros turn into wellness.
yes.
So you can always change.
exactly, you can always change, unless you're like a women's bodybuilder and you're the most muscular.
You might have a hard time.
Yeah, you might
going
have a
down
hard
to
time shrinking.
bikini.
But yeah, this is honestly just kind of like what we've seen in our people that we know in the industry that fit into the category. But these are kind of for naturally like thinner, leaner, little petite girls, maybe not as muscular. Maybe you've just started and this is the first show that you're doing. Bikini is always a really great one to go in because it's the least muscular of all of the women's categories. So some examples of some physiques and of our friends that you might know, like Jazzy Fit, bikini competitor, Kerrigan Pike, bikini competitor. So you can see how they're like petiter girls, thinner.
I recommend before you even like continue, I would search up like IFBB Bikini Olympia or like IFBB Wellness Olympia. Look at what the standard is just so you can get like an example.
Yeah.
Or honestly, I'm going to add them to the screen. That'll probably make life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Go watch on YouTube if you're not, because we're going to put some examples on the screen. So I feel like it can make it a little less like hard for us to explain.
Yeah, we'll pop up some little inspo so that you can see.
So you can see the body type.
So what the NPC says that the bikini athlete should display is a foundation of muscle that gives you shape to the female body, full round glutes with slight separation between the hamstrings and the glute area, small amount of roundness in the delts. So usually you'll kind of see this also from their back pose, because you can see your delts like popping out the side. You'll also see them from the front. They want a conditioned core overall look. Mm-hmm. They want your hair, your makeup, your tan, and your posing to be on point. So this is like an overall kind of sport where like they want the whole package.
Yeah.
So things that they don't want to see in the bikini category is muscular density seen in like a figure or wellness physique, meaning like they don't want you to be that muscular as like a wellness or a figure competitor. And then they want to see squared glutes. They don't want to see squared glutes. They don't want to see muscle separation that you see in figure competitors, like super shredded. You can see like every little detail.
Yeah.
Graininess or striations anywhere. Graininess is basically like what it sounds like. It's like your skin, you're so lean that your skin is like, it looks like sandpaper. Like it's really weird. You'll see a lot of guys that look like that. Striations is kind of where your muscle will make like little flares.
I always say picture like a really lean guy's chest, because I feel like that's the easiest way to see it. Like
flares,
the little fibers going like
Yes.
outward, that's striations. Bikini is ultimately looking for like a super a super like well-rounded package. They want you very balanced.
Yes.
They want your legs and upper body to match. They want everything to be like lean but not super shredded, lean but not super round, like kind of that like perfect balanced look.
Exactly. Like the best way that Kerrigan Pike described it to me, she's an IFBB. Wait, is she a pro?
Yeah.
Yeah, duh. She's a bikini pro. And she said that they look for like an X shape. So like an X is obviously like the balance from top to bottom. When we go into the next category, which is wellness, they don't look for that actually.
Yes.
So that's the bikini category. So now we're moving into the wellness category. So who is this division for? This is for the females with an athletic physique. They showcase more muscle mass in the hips, glutes, and thigh area. Their upper body is developed, but not to the point of being figure competitor developed, which is the next category up. Basically, as we move into each of these categories, they get more muscular and more muscular. So we start at the least amount to the most amount. This is the only division that they don't look for symmetry. So they want to see your lower body dominate your upper body.
They don't want that X.
Yes, they do
want
not
like an upside down Y.
Yeah, yeah, or like a kind of like a triangle or something.
Triangle.
I don't know, a Dorito. But yeah, so conditioning wise, they're looking for the conditioning to be almost on par with bikini athletes, but they have slightly more muscles. We want to see a little body fat with slight separation, but no striation.
Yeah.
So this is where I have beef.
Why?
Because like on the amateur stage, this is kind of what we see. This is what we see, like with the no striations and like not too shredded. But on the Olympia stage and the IFBB Pro Leagues, I would like to think that wellness competitors are as shredded as the figure.
I think
the way that they've been judging
a lot of the times, the way I view it is sometimes these shows are still super limited. So they have to pick like who they can, like who still has the size and shape. But if you look at Francielle, if you look closely, she has ab veins, but she's not flexing her abs. So I think that's the difference. I do think they're as lean, but since they're not really flexing their quads at that point, they're not really like flexing their arms at that point like a figure competitor would, I feel like they look less lean.
You're right. You're right.
That's my point.
And I think that also kind of goes into like how much they fill themselves up with carbs before they go on to stage, because like obviously the more that you do, you might have like a kind of like a fuller look. Yeah, man, that must be difficult.
I want to use like Sunny Andrews as an example, because honestly that's why she's not placed high, is because she comes in striated. Like
too shredded.
What's her real name? I think, is it Renee? John Jewett's wife. Okay. Also comes in just like super shredded. And like, she's just naturally like, I follow her and she's already crazy lean and I don't even know how many weeks out she is. But that's like a person that probably has to carb up a ton. And if they don't nail it, they might be too shredded on stage, and that's why they're ranked lower. So there is still a balance there. So they still don't want it like crazy striated, like a ton of lines. There's definitely more leanness, I agree, and like more separation in IFBB versus NPC. So I do agree with you there. Yeah. It's not really
actually
round.
Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But they do have the more like...
It might be like the muscle maturity and having more muscle.
Yeah.
I would say it's much leaner than bikini. I would disagree with that one.
Yeah. It's like conditioning like bikini. I was like, I don't know.
It's kind of an in-between.
I think it is. Yeah. It's like very much in between bikini and figure.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. That makes more sense. So for the shoulders, they want them to be more developed than bikini, less developed than figure, which makes complete sense. There's like right in the middle, no striations, and not as lean as like any of the other muscular categories that we'll talk about. Yeah. Leg definition, the quad should display an athletic appearance, slight separation with no striations, full round glutes, slightly separated between the hamstring and glute area, no striations, of course.
I will say like slightly like separated. They want like a straight edge line between your glutes and hamstrings now.
Like you literally got a pencil and you were like, let's draw a triangle.
They want your glutes chiseled.
Chiseled, but no like striations or the feathering or the graininess. Glutes are bigger than the current bikini competitors, but not as lean and defined as figure and women's physique.
I'm going to put a picture up right now of bikini versus wellness front and back pose, because I feel like a lot of people who maybe aren't like super educated on all the divisions yet think that they're super similar, or think that wellness is just like a higher body fat bikini, and that is like absolutely not the case. I remember like when it first came out, that's what so many people were saying. If you look at the photos, I feel like it's clear as day, but like it is just a lot more lower body muscle mass. Yes, if you took like a picture waist up, maybe some of them are very comparable, like shoulder and arm size, but lower body is like drastically more muscular. It would take someone like at least a couple years in an off season to like go from, I'm talking like Miss Olympia bikini size to wellness size.
Definitely. Yeah. Because it's not balanced. It's not supposed to be balanced.
Yeah.
But now moving into the figure category. So who is this division for? It's for our dominant upper body girls, especially if you just love training upper body and like maybe you do have like a wider back, which like people genetically sometimes are just like that and predisposed to like building muscle quicker on the upper body. Especially if you do want more muscularity than a bikini or a wellness competitor. You know, this is just based off of what do you want? Where does your body and your genetics fit into? So they do want to see in this category for figure competitors, they want to see the balance here. Remember the X shape? They want to see the balance of the muscular development, which includes round delts, sweep to the quads, back depth and width. Emphasis is on the balance and symmetry. Small amount of muscle separation. They want to see that nice like V taper. So that's when you see the figure competitors and they're doing their back pose. And they're like, they're flaring their front and their back. They literally look like a V. Yeah. It's freaking
their
crazy.
Waist is tiny. Shoulders are huge and quads are huge. And that's what creates that like X.
Yep. And then they want to see tight glutes with separation between the hamstrings and glute area, balance between the upper body and lower body. What they do not want to see is graininess, striations, thickness associated with women's physique, which is the next category up. So it's a very specific type of like muscularity that they're trying to see.
I feel like there is a lot of like blurred lines between what would be figure on IFBB level versus women's physique, because they are both super muscular. I think the easily biggest difference is the posing. Women's physique still isn't like doing a front double bi. They're not flexing their biceps. They're just staying like down to their side. So if you are a more muscular woman, obviously we're going to talk about the next category next, but this is definitely like still the slightly smaller of the two, but still extremely muscular at this point. Like on that level, their shoulders are like
they're freaking
really
wild.
big and really capped. And they are really lean. I know it says no striations, but most of those competitors, like if they flex their glute, you're seeing every line in there.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, you see them. Like, I see them on stage.
Yeah.
So moving into the next category, which is the fitness category. So who is this for? This is for our performers. There's a balance between showing your muscular side and performing in an outfit. So Maybe you have a background in dance, gymnastics, or cheer. This would be fun for you because they do like a little 2-minute routine.
I love watching fitness.
They're honestly super, super dope to watch because it's like they're so muscular and they're shredded, but then they also have to like perform like a whole thing. You know, it's different than performing like you're posing on stage. They do posing, but then they also have to hit a couple of poses that are like mandatory. So, they have to do a push-up of some sort, a high kick, a straddle hold, and a side split. Oh my God.
I didn't know those were all like requirements.
I could never. And then for your overall muscle toning with shapely lines, overall firmness, no excessive leanness, small degree of muscularity with separation, but no visible striations. Yeah.
I feel like body-wise, it's comparable to figure, but like typically a little less lean because like you need the energy to be doing these routines. Like if you got as lean as humanly possible, you will not have the energy to be doing like one-arm push-ups and stuff like that.
I
barely have the energy to do a straddle jump now. So
yeah. So this one, like if this seems like something that's fun for you to do, like the dancey dance and the movie moves, I was like, no,
not me. I will stand on stage.
I can barely touch my toes.
Yeah.
I just can't do it. But
it's fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. It's really cool because they can do all of that in one. It's like really impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're moving into the more muscular category, which is women's physique. This is for you girlies who really want to pack on the muscle. They want to be more muscular than any of the other divisions we've talked about so far. And one thing to note that like it's going to get progressively harder as we move on with these categories like bikini, wellness, figure, women like fitness, women's physique. There's more time that goes into building the muscle to get to these points.
Oh my gosh,
to be
you cannot be a new competitor stepping on a women's physique stage.
Exactly.
You can, of course, but like to get your pro card, you need to have a lot of years of muscle mass worked up for that.
Yeah, so that's one thing to consider. It's like, how long do you want to train and wait to get the muscle development in order to compete in this and be actually competitive? So just to put that in there, things that they look for: more muscular density than they see in figure, more clear muscle separation, small amount of striations is acceptable, emphasis on the muscular development with full muscle bellies. They should be balanced between the upper and lower body. Things that they should not display are striated physique, an overly striated physique. So it seems like in this category, they're like okay with some striations.
Is fine.
I'm like, finally, we want to see them. But this says not overly striated. Graininess associated with female bodybuilding. So they don't want to see the graininess that they would see in the next category. And then we got the last category, women's bodybuilding. This is the division that takes the longest to develop into. They actually took it out for a couple of years.
I didn't even know they put it back in.
And they might have put it back in. I didn't think it was going to be
on this sheet.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of what people see and picture as women bodybuilding, like if you just picture it in your head, that is women's physique now because bodybuilding was taken out. Yeah. I think it just got too extreme. I don't know if it was drug use or
I have no idea why they took it
just
out.
Like not a big enough category. I really don't know, but
because there's really only like a select few women that can get to that point where they're as muscular enough to compete.
Like they're comparable to like men's
for sure
212 easily.
For sure. Yeah, it's freaking wild. Huge. I watched like a documentary a while ago where it was one, I think it was, I might be wrong. It was one of the bodybuilding women that was at the Olympia, and she was so sad because they took her division away.
Yeah,
and it's like
I do feel bad.
Just imagine
her whole life for
working your whole life, and they just like take your division away.
Yeah,
jeez.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they put it back, but I definitely wanted to mention it here for sure. I put down and below in these notes. I couldn't find much on it because I think they took it out, and then they said they were going to put it back. I just don't know if they did. But it's obviously the most muscular category, and then this is when they actually have like their own routine.
Yeah,
they get a song, which I'm so jealous of. I know.
One day
you get to pick your song, you get to do your whole posing routine, bro. I'm jelly of
bodybuilding
that.
Shows would be so long if every category had that though.
Yeah, I'm like, I wish they did, but then I'm like, no.
Like if men's physique had their own like full minute, I would be like, please no.
Kill me. No. Okay, so that is all of the divisions. Obviously, like we said at the beginning, from bikini all the way to women's bodybuilding, the more muscular it gets and the longer it takes to get to that point. So trying to figure out what you like to compete in, what your body naturally fits into. Maybe you just start with bikini and you work your way up to wellness, to figure, whatever it might be. If you're starting new, you kind of have a free canvas, you know? And also, if you are trying to transition into one to another, you can compete in both. Even if you don't believe like, oh, like I don't have the muscular development of a wellness competitor yet.
Do it.
And you're a bikini. Yes. I like one of my friends is moving from bikini to wellness. And I told her, I was like, train like a wellness competitor, but compete in both.
Yeah.
Then you can see where you stack up. I was like, just do it.
It's hard to know because like the division's still so new and like sometimes there's some shows where not a lot of girls show up. So like you could win in wellness and place fifth in bikini and like use that to go to nationals, then train for nationals, like whatever it looks like for you.
Exactly. So now moving into finding a coach. So the first thing I put here is like, do you actually need a coach? So in my opinion, yes. And the only reason that I'm saying that is because even though I have knowledge of like how to cut, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be good at it.
Prep someone else.
That doesn't mean
prepping yourself,
bro. I just
impossible.
I'd be too lenient. I'd be like, girl, you need
I'd be
you
the
need a
opposite.
burger.
I'd be like, lettuce only. Like you have way too much body fat.
Exactly. So there's that you could be too easy on yourself or you could be too hard on yourself. You need someone that has like an unbiased opinion that can look at you objectively and say, I'm sorry, this is where you need to go. And this is where Zach knew that he couldn't be my coach anymore because he wasn't willing to take me to that next level that I needed to get to compete. Because he just saw like what he was doing and how like hard it was for me, how my body hurt, which as a coach, you have to, at some point, like you have to care, of course, because you need to be safe and you need to like protect your athletes. But there's a point where you have to push to that next level. And Zach's like, I can't be the one to do that to you anymore.
For you guys, for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm in the same boat. I absolutely recommend finding a coach.
Definitely. So I want to put some things out there, like what to look for. I was blessed enough to like move from Zach, someone I trusted, my partner, to moving on to a new coach that like I absolutely trust like just as much as my partner. But things to look for is communication. Like how much are they actually communicating with you? What do their check-ins look like? What are their results? Like go to their Instagram, to their clients.
That's always how I find someone.
Yes.
I'm like, who else did they coach?
Yes, exactly.
And do I want to look like that? Because if they were able to get them there, odds are they'll get you there too.
Exactly. And then also like how much detail are they putting? Is it very cookie cutter? Like are you getting, and it might be a hard thing to figure out, like, am I getting a cookie cutter plan? Like you might not know if it's your first time, but like how much detail is going into that? Are they talking about supplementation? Are they talking about rest? Are they talking about workout program?
It?
Are they updating it?
I've had coaches who are like, here's your plan for the next 8 weeks.
Yeah, bro.
And I'm like, every week your body's changing. You should get a plan. I would say at very least every like 2 weeks.
Yes. Like here's just an example of like my routine goes with my coach. I have my check-ins every Thursday morning, same time. I go through a link. I do my poses. He asks me questions. How's your sleep? How's your digestion? You know, how's your energy? What kind of like, what's your cardio that you're doing right now? Cause he has it like he already programmed on it with like my little PDF, but then I have to put it in there. So it's like, this is what I am doing. I know that I'm doing this. And then other questions like, how am I doing mentally? Like all of these things. Then he puts my front, back, side pose, and my feet on the scale, a picture of my feet on the scale. Very detailed. I send it to him. He sends me back a loom, which not all coaches have to do. I'm just saying like how much detail my coach goes into. He sends me a video of him going over the new changes in the program. Even if there isn't any changes, he'll still send me a video and be like, this is looking really good and I want to keep us on this meal plan. So he'll do that. Like this week, he was like, you look great. Everything's working well. You lost weight. We're going to keep this on for one more time. And then next week we'll adjust. So that amount of detail is great. I have detail with my workout program, with my supplementation, with like my fasted cardio, my ab workouts, like all these things that I need to do. It's not just like, here's a piece of paper, follow this. Like it's very detailed. So
that could work for someone for like a lifestyle coach, but not when it comes to bodybuilding.
Yeah, it's just things are changing so rapidly, especially like when you get closer to the show, like you need to change a lot more.
Yes.
Okay, so another thing to look for, preferably someone that speaks the same language as you.
I've also done this.
Yes. Okay. And is in the same part of the world as you, because it's just going to be so much easier to talk to, communication. So for example, my coach, I've never met him before. He's online and I'm pretty sure he lives in Florida, but he lives in the United States. So like time wise, it works perfectly. It's not like I'm getting coached by someone in like Brazil and I can't understand them. And there's that language gap. I've tried it one time and I was like,
I tried it once too.
I was like, this is,
I had a Brazilian coach and I was like,
it's
nope.
hard. Yeah. You need to be able to like communicate well.
Communication is huge with a coach.
Yes. And also one of the biggest things is have consultation calls with these coaches. If they don't offer them, for me, that's like kind of like a red flag. Even if you have to like pay a little bit for them, because some of them might charge you for like the consultation call, but just feel the vibe out. Like, how do you feel from this person? Does it really feel like they want to help you, that they care about this sport, that they're very passionate? When I had my call with my coach, I was like, this is the guy. I just knew like in my gut, and just listen to that gut feeling. Don't be too anxious to like get with anybody, because I've heard too many bad stories about people getting with bad coaches that screw up their hormones, that their hair starts falling out because they don't care about your body. They care about results. They care about money.
Yeah.
So just please do what you can. And then secondly, where to find a coach. Kendall, where did you find your first coach?
Who was... Instagram. It was when I was getting into WBFF and I just like started researching a ton, and it was like the world champion like did coaching for other competitors, and I was like, she must know what she's talking about.
Bet.
So it was her and her husband, and they were angels. And I like went to a posing seminar before like actually deciding if I wanted her to be my coach, because I wanted to meet her in person. And she is just super sweet, and her physique is beautiful. And honestly, like still one of my favorite coaches to date.
Wow.
Like she was amazing. If she would coach me for the NPC, I would have stuck with her.
She won't coach you for NPC? Why?
Because she's like
got
the
beef?
face of WBFF. Yeah.
Okay,
it is that conflict there.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I found her on Instagram, and then from there, I just like, she lives in Dallas, so I was like, okay, let me see if I can do something locally or meet her. And then we set up a consultation call, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and she she was great. I liked her a lot.
Yeah, so that's like one way to definitely find it is Instagram. So one thing that I would do too is like go to competitors' physiques that you admire and kind of see who their coach is. Maybe they have them tagged in the picture. Maybe they don't. You can also DM them if they answer.
I've asked people before.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm like, who coached you? You look amazing.
Yeah. You can even search through hashtags of like bodybuilding hashtags or bodybuilding coaches to find some coaches, find a physique that you like, someone that's like in your general area, like maybe like United States or whatever, wherever you are.
I've also asked people another thing. Say you find a coach on Instagram and you see like some of their clients' results, reach out to a client or two and be like, how was your experience? Like, are you still with them? What did you like? What didn't you like? I've had, it was Sunny Andrews' younger sister. I had a consultation call when I was thinking about competing again with their coach.
What's his name?
I always forget.
It starts with an O. No.
He's
the owner of Evogen, right?
You. No. And that might be her current coach, but this is her old one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I reached out. This was like over a year ago.
He reached out to me to coach me.
Really?
Yeah.
I like reached out and and she like only had great things to say.
Yeah.
So I was
I've
like,
heard
okay,
good things about
that's
him
a good
too.
potential. So
interesting. Yeah.
Reach out to
reach out to people that physiques that you like. You can also, one thing that I didn't realize, which is genius, but like you can go to the NPC website and go and see the competitors that like did really well on stage, and you can probably find their coaches within there as well.
Yeah.
And then you can start like stalking them, then you can stalk them, and then you can stalk their clients.
I'm pretty sure they also do like an award for like coach of the year or something. Yeah.
They do.
Like not saying you have to go with that person,
Zach
but like that's a way. That's a way to find someone.
Yeah. And then also like once you pick a coach and you feel really comfortable with them and you vibe with them and you have the same goal and health is like at the forefront of y'all's goals as well, they can help you fit into a division. So they can help you decide on what to do. They can also start creating like a plan for like, okay, you're a bikini competitor and you want to move into wellness. Like this is what we need to do in order to get there. So they can help you figuring out those little nooks and crannies.
Also adding to that, I'm a hypocrite and I'm pretty sure you are too on this. Start with them in your off season. Like
100%. I am now with my coach year round.
Yes. I always make the terrible mistake to like do my off season by myself. And when I'm like 15 weeks out, I'm like, time to get a coach. Like that is throwing so much responsibility on this person to learn all of your habits and how your body reacts to things all in the span of like a week and get you a plan for prep. Like that is insane. Like work with them in your off season, get to know each other, see if this is someone you want to do your whole prep with or not. Like that's a good time to start.
Yes.
So
I'm going to be honest, this was my first year having a coach in my off season.
I knew you were also a hypocrite.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fucking yeah. Yeah. Cause I'm like, yeah, goodbye. I don't need to listen
every
to
year.
You. But you're just going to be so much better off because my coach has gotten me through like a healthy, like we've gone through like a health journey. Like he helped me get off birth control, like transition into that and like get my hormones back. Now. We're buds. He knows my blood work better than anybody else, and not all coaches do this. So, I'm telling you, working with him in the off season has made such a difference. I'm at such a healthier place and I've built more muscle because I've had that accountability instead of just being like, I'm going to do it by myself, So
I agree.
Keep that in mind. So now moving into how to pick a show date. This is also going to determine like what your coach says and how far out you need to go. But like a general rule of thumb is like minimum of 4 months. I always do a 5-month prep because I like to have enough time to cut down slow enough so that I can stay healthy. I don't run myself into the ground because there's people that will they'll do like 3 months and 2 months and just cut and they'll literally deteriorate into dust and they just.
Yeah, you lose a lot of muscle that way because you're cutting so aggressively. Yes. I usually also typically start at least having the prep mindset and like at least starting cardio, even if it's literally 10 minutes on the treadmill to get used to having that in my routine again, like 20 weeks out.
Exactly.
And then when I'm like 17, 16, it's like game time. I'm 100% on my prep because I like to like ease into it because it is like a huge step to be like, okay, I'm in prep now.
Exactly. And like one thing that on at least like the coach aspect side of it is because they might even say that, hey, like we need to take an off season together and we really need to build so we can get you into this category. That might be the case. So then you could take like maybe a year or 6 months to like build. And then you can start like slowly cutting. Cause maybe like your calories are not even at a high enough point yet. Yeah. So like the reason I'm saying that is because the ideal approach would be to start your prep or your cutting season at the highest amount of calories that you can, because it's easier to cut from say 2,000 calories down to a low amount when you're on peak week versus like you're starting at 1,500 calories.
Now you
and
like have to dip so low.
Bro, there's no wiggle room. So
that's been my issue in the past.
Yes.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah, guys, this is basically just don't do what we do as we say, not as we do.
Yes. I would say definitely give yourself like at minimum like a 14-week prep. Like there are a lot of people that do 12-week preps. Maybe you're naturally lean and you're going to bikini, so you don't need to get like insanely like an insane amount leaner. Those are the only instances you can maybe do a shorter prep, but it definitely depends on like your starting physique as well.
Yeah, and also I understand too, it's like these things cost money. Mm-hmm. So it's like for me, it's like if we're going to really allot our money into a certain place, for me, I would feel like, in my personal opinion, coach is number one.
Yeah.
And then we can literally save money on all of it. We can save money by renting a suit. We'll go into stuff like that later.
Yeah.
Save money with hair and makeup. We can teach ourselves how to do it. Save money with tanning. There's so many things that we can save money for. But with a coach, it's like one of the most important things, especially if you find a good one. Like for my coach, I'm like, I will give you all my money.
Yes.
Just keep me okay and make me look good.
I know that can be hard, but like it makes prep
difference.
So much easier. Trust me.
It really does. Well, that was a doozy, bruh.
That was a lot of information.
Sorry, guys.
In a short amount of time, that was actually not that long.
That was a lot of information. I hope you guys got all of that. But
again, if you are listening on Spotify, I recommend popping over to YouTube to see the difference of the divisions, because I feel like it can be really confusing when you're just hearing us talk about like, this is striated, this is an X, like this is a roundness. Like just go look at the photos. I feel like that's the easiest way to be like, okay, which one would I realistically fit into?
Definitely. And then you can also see like all of them next to each other and be like, where does my physique kind of fit next to it? And also take like a progress photo and maybe do the poses and then just match it up and be like, oh, okay, I've done that.
I always do that. And like when I was really deciding between bikini, like sticking with bikini or going wellness, like wellness was just announced and I was like, I'm not really big enough, but like I'm definitely bigger than bikini. Like I could either stop training legs and cut a lot and go bikini, or I could like lean into this. And like, it was a really hard decision. I sat on it for like 3 months and then I was like, F it, I'm going to bulk and see how I look. And I gained enough muscle mass to make it work. So if you want it, like just start training for it. And then eventually you'll get to a place where you can cut for it.
Definitely. And go back to our episode where we talk about our wellness split.
Yes, that'll help.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys like this episode. We're loving doing these bodybuilding.
They're actually fun.
Basics. I know. I love talking about bodybuilding. Then I'm like, okay, so then there's this, and then there's this, and then
it's one of those topics we could talk about. Like, I wouldn't need notes in front of me just because, like, I lived it for so many years where I'm like, oh, yeah, this is how I did that, and that's how I did that. And don't do it that way, though, because I did that wrong.
Yes. So really, guys, we're creating these for you because of, like, the mistakes that we made and things that we wish we would have done or we would have done differently. And these are some of the biggest things. Like the last episode was the mindset behind it. And now we're going into like picking your coach, the show date, like all of these really, really important things instead of just jumping into something, because this isn't something that jumping into is easy to do. You know, it's
you need
a very
to plan ahead for this one.
It's a decision, bro. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. We all love you so much. And we're more powerful than you think.
Bye.